Hello, everyone. My name is Moonshine, and I am the host of today's AMA with BV7X. And we have Misha here with us on the mic to talk about BV7X, which is a next generation AI ecosystem delivering autonomous agents, real time market insights, and transparent on chain intelligence. And through today's AMA, we're going to walk across all of what the ecosystem has to offer and what listeners can benefit from the project. So, Mr. Could you start by introducing yourself and the team behind your project?
Yeah, sure. I'm MischaOx. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an early investor in Ethereum. Started one of the first decentralized science protocols in 2018 called ECU. It was designed to fund bio R&D with IP tokens. So one of the first IP token plays before IP protocol and actually even more like the bio protocol and DeSci projects that came out. I also raised 12 million for a project called Popcorn, which came out around the same time of DeFi summer. It was a automated yield strategy protocol that donated a portion of protocol fees to fund public goods. That eventually pivoted to Vaultcraft, which is one of the first institutional yield vault management infrastructures that reached around like 150 million in TVL at its peak. And then I had raised 2 million for BitVault, which is a structured credit facility where you can borrow against your Bitcoin and then deploy into institutional yield strategies. And that was sort of like the precursor to launching BV7X. But before crypto, I worked at Credit Suisse for several years in private banking, and then did my master's in economics and finance, and then I worked in corporate strategy at SAP. So in big tech for 6 years as well. So working in finance and tech, I think inevitably led me to read the Ethereum white paper when it came out. And I was lucky enough to invest in Ethereum in 2016. So that was sort of like the beginning of my crypto journey. And yeah, now I'm working on BV7X.
Right. A very interesting background and an introduction to, how you guys started the project. So now, why did you choose to create a project like this, not any other maybe real estate project and, some sort of other project, game projects, GameFi, Web3, all of that? Why did you choose to create, a project where humans and AI agents get to compete, build verifiable reputation, and all of that?
I mean, it was I guess I think like the project organically came about just because I guess like the origin story was I was building a Bloomberg-like terminal using Claude Code when Claude Code really started getting traction last year, and so I'm a non-technical founder, and I've been building with engineers, CTOs for the last like 10 years or so, and I've always been waiting on the roadmap for any like engineering task, and then obviously with Claude Code I quickly found that I was able to ship things very fast, and then especially with every model that came out, now that we have like Fable, you can see how ridiculously fast it is to ship things. So anyways, I wanted to build it's a terminal that just monitored Bitcoin collateral, like the price action of Bitcoin, because we were borrowing against a lot of Bitcoin. And, obviously, if there's a bad day, you need to have like proper risk management infrastructure and protocols in place. And really, I think one of the other motivations to build this terminal was because after October last year, the whole crypto market died. There was like systematic sell-off from probably like several market makers that were going bankrupt or something of that nature. And so from October until basically spring this year, I mean, actually technically I think like we're still sort of like in the bear market. I mean, Bitcoin went from 120k to like 60k, and we're still there right now. Ethereum like 1700k. So I found myself having this technology that had, and also like with my knowledge and experience in finance and DeFi, that I was able to build something that could actually like tell me something about what was going to happen in the future. And obviously there's a lot of platforms and analytics exchanges where you can pull data from, but that's been around for a while. But I mean, now I was able to like, put together a model or a terminal that was able to give me, very robust information about what was happening in the market in like, in like 1 week's time. And so that's basically how this whole journey started. I built the terminal, and then I started basically predicting Bitcoin's price in like 7 days, and then the Polymarket SDK came out probably like I think it was like December or January this year, and I just wired in my terminal into the SDK, and I was predicting on Polymarket for Bitcoin up down markets. And long story short, I decided to basically like productize or protocolize what I was doing. And fast forward to now, I realized like the best way of basically aggregating a lot of signals from people like me was to create a game. And it's a game that's like very similar to like BitTensor and how they incentivize compute. And so I wanted to do that for predictions. And so the idea is that like, with many predictions that are legitimate from people like me or other agents specifically, then you have something that's like really, really powerful in predicting the future. And so that's how the whole project came about.
Great. And something I noticed was um, like how the project is being positioned as not just another AI trading project, but like the intelligence itself is becoming like an on-chain asset. So I also saw that you emphasize on the cryptographic proof of performance prediction market and an AI native economic system. So going into what your project is actually about, how have you guys been able to combine all of these to ensure it's safe and easy for users to approach your project?
Yeah, I mean, technically we're still building out the protocol, right? I mean, from February up until now, I think right now we have roughly 5,200 agents that are competing in this daily, weekly signal, where most of the time, you can check this on chain, like my model is basically beating everyone else's. Mostly just because like I haven't necessarily advertised this to the quant or the professional trading community just yet, because the infrastructure is not ready. It still has to be audited. But there are some things like staking that's out, that's ready and anticipating like revenue coming from the protocol in the future. But the sorry, I just lost my track of thought. Like, what was the question again?
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're trying to dive into what you guys are actually offering and how it is easier for users
Okay,
right now,
got it.
listeners to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. You brought me back on track. So for users, I mean, the demographic, right? It's for trading professionals, and anyone that's seeking edge in the market. So if you're in crypto and you're trading, there's however many bots or however many platforms that you can plug into to purchase like a signal or some sort of analytical piece of information that can tell you what the future price action of an asset will be. So I mean, there's Glassnode, there's TradingView, there's Nansen Analytics. There's a lot of AI tools out there right now. In fact, like probably most of these analytical platforms have like transitioned completely into AI driven analytics. And so in a way, BV7X is similar in the sense that it produces this signal, very granular, high conviction signal from agents. And so I guess to answer your question, I mean, it's very much like trading professional first quants that want to plug into an agentic protocol that's designed to get better and better as more agents and predictions come along. But again, this is like early days and we're just building out the infrastructure. And so obviously, like if you've used Polymarket or Callsheet, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like the best it's the easiest user experience. I mean, even for someone like me, it took me about like, a week or two to really get comfortable with, wagering on Polymarket, right? Like it's not as something as simple as just trading on Coinbase or whatever, right? Like you actually have to understand, like, I think a little bit about what the infrastructure allows you to do, right? So like Polymarket is a bunch of like liquidity pools for however many markets where you can like go in and out of, sort of like in this option model kind of way. So, in a year from now, I expect like the UI UX to be very similar to Polymarket, but right now, it's technically just pull in from our API and you can purchase our signal through the BV7X token.
Great. Why I asked that question was I was kind of leading to this question, which is, currently the AI and crypto sectors are about crowded, it's kind of saturated. So what makes you confident that BV7X wasn't just another project which will just enter the market and just float on top? So what are you doing that is more like a competitive advantage that once you guys are done building, people will definitely want to use what you guys are offering?
Yeah, I mean, there's several, I guess, answers to that question. I mean, one, BV7X is solving a very important, let's say, like trading problem, right? And that's like how do you predict what's happening in the future for Bitcoin or for tokenized stocks or just like the stock market in general, right? So the thing is now with agentics or AI intelligence is that people are now able through agentics or as humans just interacting with AI in general are able to have so much more intelligence, analytics, knowledge about what's happening in the market than ever before, like exponential. And it's just going to continue to rise and rise. And as someone that has been trading or building in crypto, as well as worked in the traditional finance realm, it's very clear to me that building out like an infrastructure that's designed to accumulate robust intelligence is a super important and novel thing to offer to society. Because if you think about all these frontier labs that are just aggregating more and more intelligence from people like me, whoever's using these things, right? Just buying tokens and just crunching data using natural language. It's a bit concerning, right? Because they're sort of like carving out themselves as like sort of this elite super class that has literally all the intelligence and knowledge of the world. Like that's what's happening with Anthropic. It's what's happening with OpenAI. Google obviously had their search engine prior to AI and have surmassed like however much information and intelligence, right? And so the thing is that if you look at it from that perspective, there's probably going to be a very, very small percentage of society that's just going to have all this intelligence, which is crazy, right? It's not a good thing for humanity for this small percentage of society to have all that information. And so the thing is, what let's say allows people to live a happy life is to be able to be like self-sovereign and have the affordability or like basically cash in their bank account to be able to live, right? To not like starve. And if you have this amount of intelligence at your fingertips, why not have some sort of like infrastructure or intelligence that allows you to make a financial return consistently in the market? And that was the idea, like going into this, is that like I wanted to like level the playing field with all the all like the masters of you know, the people that like understand how to use intelligence much better than, you know, the normal person. So the idea is to level the playing field, and you know, comparatively to like everything else that's happening, let's say in AI and crypto, I would say BV7X is still very much a novel protocol. Like there's no other protocol that is doing what we're doing. There's things like BitTensor, which are, you know, it's very similar in design, where like they're incentivizing compute for like arbitrary things like, you know, voice generation or image creation. And what they're doing is they have a token that just basically is distributed to people that are you know, contributing their compute to BitTensor. And BitTensor is like a $5 billion like FTV protocol right now. And so if you compare what we're doing to BitTensor, for example, the asymmetry in let's say like the valuation of the protocols is so vast, which means like we have such a higher upside. And if you think about BV7X having a higher upside in it being this very novel protocol comparatively to all the other things that are like, you know, going after memory. I mean, there are things that are happening in AI and crypto where, you know, you have like engineers that are saying like, oh, we're solving like the inference compute problems and how much it costs. But I mean, like you're technically just competing with the frontier labs. So if you're competing with frontier labs, like, I mean, like, good luck. I mean, I'm not competing with frontier labs. I'm just trying to basically create a game for people to make a consistent financial return. So I think in that regard, we're pretty much set up for, you know, success.
I appreciate your transparency. So the next question I wanted to ask was about the actual project itself. Can you just like, well, I know you mentioned you're not really on the technical side, but maybe you could just run us through once the whole system is ready or the whole architecture is ready, how does one get to use your platform? Is it just a simple predict to win kind of situation? What is the like payments? What would it be like? Would it be in the token or in stable coins?
Yeah, so it's a two-sided marketplace. One is for forecasters, modelers, or strategy agents that want to predict within the protocol and potentially win, you know, the token as cash. So when I say like when I say like win the token, I mean in order to participate in these predictions, in these prediction markets, you need to stake the BV7X token, and then you can wager USDC. So that's one side of the marketplace. The other side is for people that want to access like the signal within the tournament. So you know, you as a BV7X token holder can stake, you know, X amount of BV7X to access this intelligence. And it's not only the signal that you're getting access to. You're getting access to like on-chain credentialed agents and basically thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions in the future that you can effectively just copy trade based on their reputation, which obviously already exists. But I mean, this protocol is designed for agentics to flourish with their on-chain credibility and everything. So that's the other side of the marketplace. So again, like if you're a forecaster or if you're someone that has however many agents that you want to deploy, you need to stake B7X, and then for each of their agents, they have their own wallet. They can wager USDC, and then on the other side, you have people that are staking BV7X and purchasing the signal basically. And so the revenue that the protocol makes is actually from a percentage of the wagers that come into the protocol. So I think it's 2%, right? Yeah, 2% that we collect from each pot. And then that's distributed back to the stakers as well.
Sure. Stands up with sides those ones onto what you guys are using on finance, right? What is called, right? So the next question I wanted to ask is about the partnerships. You know, building a relationship or partnership across different sectors is something that I always encourage, and it's something that definitely fosters the growth of the project. So when evaluating a potential partnership, what matters more to you? Is it brand recognition or long-term strategic value?
I mean, I don't think brand recognition is really the motivation for partnering with anyone right now. Perhaps in the future it will be, but since we're still like in the early phases here, it's really about getting the pieces right for the infrastructure. And so I just posted this article the other day about X402, having that micropayment protocol integrated is super important for BV7X because it allows agents to essentially wager on their own, so without any human interaction whatsoever. X402 is just a protocol, right? It's just a thing that exists online, and that's where I'm mostly at right now, is just figuring out exactly the pieces that are required in order for this thing to be successful. It's obviously very easy to say that BV7X is built on Base, it's coming to Solana, it's coming to Robinhood. I've been building in crypto for like 10 years now, so I understand the importance of highlighting the things that we're like where we're building. Obviously Robinhood changes came out, so I think it's important to say that we're going to be deploying on Robinhood, and that BV7X is chain agnostic. So I would say functionality requirements are priority. Brand recognition isn't really that important.
Great. And also, what kind of communities, or should I say, communities often determine whether a project succeeds or fades away. So what kind of community are your team intention trying to build around BV7X?
The community, I think once predictions actually start, they'll, I think naturally people that are number one predicting, as well as like creating their own models and agents and forecasts, will come into the community and start discussing, what it is that they're like building, how to participate and everything. And so I think naturally, quants, analysts, trading professionals will come in. I mean, obviously this is crypto, and so there's speculators. There's probably way more speculators than actually users. But I would say, generally speaking, speculators and users are kind of like the community that naturally come about. And we have a Telegram chat, which I think is quite active, friendly. People are very supportive of the project, and we have some moderators that are always answering questions as well, that are helping me out because I'm building things. So yeah, I mean, perhaps in the future we might have a Discord to open up conversations for multiple markets, but for now we're just keeping it simple with Telegram.
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to ask, what milestone are you personally looking forward to the most? Because it will kind of validate all the work your team has put in.
Sorry, can you speak up? I actually can't hear you. It sounds like you're whispering.
Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I was asking, what milestone are you personally looking forward to the most? Because it would validate all the work your team has put in.
Well, I think with any protocol or any product, for example, that you're building, right? I mean, especially in crypto, where everyone is very skeptical of, what's happening in the back, behind the scenes, right? I think, staking was definitely a good first milestone in order to to introduce to the community and people that there is actually like a legitimate product being built here. I mean, you can stake easily right now, unstake, claim rewards, auto compound your rewards with stake compute right now. And there's actually like 1 billion BV7X tokens that are being distributed through that pool right now. Anyone can go in, or actually, sorry, not anyone, but I mean, if you signed up for the closed beta, which was available to sign up for the last couple months, you're able to get in there now. But there's actually like significant demand for stake compute, and so I think within the next couple of weeks we'll probably open up staking to everyone. But after staking is really just launching the first Bitcoin market, and right now the infrastructure is pretty much built out. We have the smart contracts that are already deployed on base Sepolia, and then we're gonna obviously test things internally to see exactly like what needs to be fixed. The great thing about my team is that everyone is using Fable at the moment. Well, until Fable runs out, like we'll use Opus, but I mean Fable 5 on Claude is definitely helping tremendously in terms of testing and writing smart contracts, or writing smart contracts and testing them. So I think probably by August we'll actually have the first prediction market like running in a test environment, and then hopefully by September we'll actually have the markets running, because August is generally just a dead month. People take holiday and everything. But yeah, we're quite on track for that. And then once the first market goes live, we'll see. Well, obviously we'll try to get as much traction in that market as we can, and then if everything goes well, we'll start opening up markets to other other crypto assets like Ethereum, Solana, Hype, BNB, and then we'll be expanding to like tokenized stocks. And so it'll probably be a rapid rollout of prediction markets. Once we get everything sort of working. And so, yeah, that's happening within the next few months. So it's going to be exciting.
Great. It's always important to watch how the market flows before, beginning to add things on. So really appreciate your answer. Before I move over to questions from the community, because I can see some questions in my DMs and also in the community. I wanted to ask a last question, which is your project token is live, right?
Yes.
So could you walk us through like the total supply of the token and also how your tokenomics is structured? Is there a particular percent going to burning, going to the team, vested, and all of that?
Sure. So it was a fair launch. We fair launched the token on base. So there was 100 billion BV7X tokens that were minted. The first month we used trading fees to buy back the token and burn it. So we actually burned roughly 7.5% of the supply. So right now the total circulating supply is 92%. Obviously a very big milestone is that we actually have 30% of the supply now staked in staking, which is quite significant and happens like all within like 3 days. And so that means there's roughly, like 65 billion tokens that are technically circulating outside of the staking contracts right now. So pretty significant supply shock. And the rewards are dripping for another, roughly like 85 days. So it seems like, staking is quite sticky for token holders or anyone that wants to stake. And in the future, there might be more buyback and burn initiatives, but for the time being, no. I guess to go through the token economic design again, the BV7X token is the compute token, and what I mean by that is that it's required in order for you to access the compute that's happening within the protocol. So staking enables you to access the compute once it's live, and it also enables you to access revenue beyond just bootstrapped rewards. So like revenue that's coming in from a portion of the pot that's being wagered, and then also from people that are actually like buying the signal. So if you stake BV7X, you're earning again a portion of the pot or portion of the pool from people wagering, and then also you're earning 60% of the revenue that's coming in from people buying the signal. So it's pretty, I think, like very well designed token economics. It took a little, inspiration from Venice, which is probably or arguably like the most successful privacy LLM that has launched by Eric Voorhees. So, they have like a similar token economic system that we've copied in a way. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how the token works.
Great. Thank you so much for walking us through that. So with this, let's get some community question. But before I do that, is there any other thing you'd like to mention that you feel we haven't covered through the interaction so far?
No, I think we're good. You've asked some very good questions.
Okay. So before we take one live question, guys, if you have questions, kindly signify by raising your hand. For I saw a question coming in here from Mike in the chat. And Mike is asking, are there ambassador or contributor programs coming up?
No, actually, we finished the ambassador and referral programs actually end of June. So those were ongoing for like several months actually, and those people that participated are being paid out like roughly 1.5% of the supply right now. So further notice, there's no more ambassador or referral program.
Okay. So Mike, I hope that answers the question. So let's take a question here on the live section. Jeremy, you can go ahead with your question, please. You have a minute. Are you there, Jeremy? Try leave the chat and join in. Okay, we have you here.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Sorry, I was trying to mute myself and I thought I was muted. Hi, nice to meet you, Michael. If I'm pronouncing it, Mr. Mischa.
Yeah.
All right. Nice to meet you, Jeremy here. I did a little bit of discussion. First of all, I would like to say, nice talking about your project and hearing from you, straight up, and understanding was the BV7X team is building, and know more about the project. I appreciate the introduction to it. So I did a bit of research in your website, and it's kind of nice. But my question is directed based on your AI model and your prediction history. So the question goes like this: building an AI model is one thing, but demonstrating that it can consistently deliver value over months or even years is a much bigger challenge. And our market conditions are constantly changing, and a model that performs well in one environment may struggle to perform in another one. And so, beyond publishing your prediction history, what kind of key performance or indicators or internal benchmarks does the BV7X team rely on to determine that model generally improving over time, simply benefiting from the market condition, the favorable market condition, or short-term trend?
I think one important statistic to really understand here about prediction markets is that what they've shown to do or prove is that they're actually more than 90% accurate in predicting the outcome of something in the future based on like their design. So like anyone, let's say in Polymarket, if like Bitcoin is going to be up or down, in 7 days, and everyone wants to wager on that, from 7 days onwards, like to the first day, the market basically is able to figure out within this time span, like what Bitcoin is going to be, with like a higher than 90% accuracy. So that's just like that's like literally a statistic. It's a fact. And it's really important to understand because, obviously if that accuracy wasn't high, no one would really care about prediction markets, and that's what prediction markets have. That's why they're so important. Because you can basically tell the future. They can predict the future, about, for most things, right? So, piggybacking off of that idea, right? So, BV7X is designed for, legitimate forecasters, let's say like people like me, to wire in their agentic setup, to essentially just autonomously wager, in these markets going forward. And so the idea is that through competition, you actually produce accurate predictions. And the way to ensure that is through like a monetary incentivization system. So if there's no rewards being offered to anyone, no one really cares. And the thing is that rewards are essentially bootstrapped by people that are wagering. So it's not by the protocol itself, which obviously there might be some rewards on top that might be offered to kick things off, but it's coming from people that are like wagering USDC. So, taking myself as an example, right? So I'm definitely going to be participating in this prediction market on BV7X. Like I've already have been since February, and I've been basically winning like most of the predictions every day, or sorry, every week, which is not to say that I'm like the best predictor out there, or trader, or quant, or what have you. But the idea is that there's going to be more people like me that are going to be able to use AI to design agents or models, that they can earn with, independently from like human interaction. And so that's the idea, is that I'm building an infrastructure to capture this sort of, commerce from agentics. And so that's theoretically how we'll solve for, basically, attracting like legitimate forecasters and agentic prediction models going forward.
Okay, that's nice. And do you think that's like a competitive advantage that you guys have against those who have a similar idea or resources of technology?
Sorry, what was the question?
As in, is that like a competitive advantage that you guys have over those who have similar technology or resources?
Yeah, I think we're very unique in the sense that, the way the prediction market is set up, it's not, for one, it's not a liquidity pool like Polymarket or Kalshi. It's actually like a pot where people, or where agents are wagering, and then the protocol takes a fee from that. So obviously there's a lot of different designs for prediction markets, but I think like our go to market, as well as like the design of what we built, is still very much niche, but also similar to like what BitTensor has set up as well.
All right. Thanks for the clarification and the clarity. I appreciate it. So I don't have any more questions, but if I do have, I'll send you a DM. Thank you very much for answering my question.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, for throwing in that question. So let me get back to the question to bring out. My concern is asking, is there a testnet, file set, or sandbox for devs to experiment without buying token?
There was, and now we're actually in the closed beta. So I think there will be let's say a sandbox once the first prediction market goes live. But until then, you can just stake BV7X in the closed beta, which will also be made available to the public soon.
Okay, I think that was Roy's question. So I hope that answers the question, Roy. Another question in the chat, I'm trying to read through, is are there plans, Jinx is asking, are there plans for a formal foundation or DAO structure in the future?
No plans as of now.
Okay, so let's have a live question. David C. So David, you can go ahead with your question. Okay, we don't have David here. So let's have Bankis for now. Bankis, you can go ahead with your question. You can try leaving the voice chat and rejoin. It's probably just acting up.
Can you guys hear me, or is it from my end too? Am I audible now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think I muted David. Then please try speaking. Okay, let's have Antoinette. Antoinette, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Okay. Hello, Moonshine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're audible.
All right. Thank you. Hello, Masha. Here goes my questions. Okay. Since AI generated market analysis can influence financial decisions, what benchmarking methods, historical performance evaluations, or
Oh, I think Antoinette, you can go ahead with your question, please. You have to unmute. I think you got bad network or something. I don't know. Are you there?
now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry. Go ahead with your question, please.
Okay. Hello, Mischa. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So my question is, since AI generated market analysis can influence financial decisions, what benchmarking methods or independent testing have been conducted to measure the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of your AI models over time?
Well, the idea is that there's basically BV7X crowdsources AI agent predictions. And so that in itself produces an accuracy, right? So when BV7X first started, it had like a 70% accuracy in predicting Bitcoin being up or down, which was really high. And then obviously the market got super chaotic. And then I think right now the accuracy is below 60%, which is okay, I guess. But anything above 60% accuracy in predicting something in the future means you have at least a significant edge. So to answer your question, I mean, the idea is to crowdsource this intelligence that produces this accuracy. So my AI model, let's say, is not really relevant here. It's the thousands or hundreds of thousands of agents that are predicting. That's basically aggregating this intelligence into like one signal that people can pull. That's what's relevant.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Antoinette. So this here is asking from the chat, how much influence does community feedback actually have on your project? Or has there been a situation in the past, or can you share an example of where a feedback changed the decision in the project?
I mean, there's some quite intelligent people in the community. I think most of the decision making is made by myself and the team. I don't think there's so many people within the community that have, the background of smart contract engineering or like working with prediction markets. So, but I mean, the Telegram community is definitely a good place to listen to ideas and recommendations. I think there's this one guy called XME8 that seems like he just processes everything that I put out through his own AI or LLM setup, and it spits out a lot of suggestions on like go to market and like products that we should build or shouldn't build. And so he was someone that actually said that we should focus on more inefficient markets because something like BV7X could be tailored to solve at perhaps higher accuracy for inefficient markets, which I think was a good idea. And it's something that we'll probably, let's say, incorporate into the go-to-market. But again, there's very much like a solid roadmap, and I don't think it's really going to change at this point. So yeah, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. Thank you so much for being open about that because, listeners, I believe that was the thing the listener had in mind when asking that question. Sometimes they want to give opinions, especially when they're invested or when they're using the project and want to see how the team reacts to such opinions, whether it's welcome or not. So thank you so much. I think that is all the questions we'll be taking for today's AMA. But before I wrap up the AMA, I would like to give you the floor to give a concluding statement or,
Sure. So staking your compute is live. If you signed up for the closed beta, you'll be able to stake right now. But since there's roughly 30% of the supply that's already staked, I think that's a good indicator that there's a significant demand in stake compute right now, which means we're going to open it up to the public in the next couple of weeks. And we'll add another 500 million BV7X in rewards onto the pool. So if you buy BV7X now and you want to stake in the future, you'll be able to do so. And then, with probably by like August, September, we'll have the first iteration of the Bitcoin prediction market up. It'll be offered through a feature in the closed beta. That's really the next big milestone. I think it's also just important to call out that, this is not only a base specific project. Obviously the token is on base, but it's very chain agnostic. Obviously there's a lot of hype with the Robinhood chain right now. Solana is always very active. And so the idea is to get people that are building within these other ecosystems or blockchains to basically come over to BV7X. I think another thing to point out is that, if you have an agent, you don't even need a blockchain. You just need a blockchain for the agent's wallet. So that's really just on you to decide like how you want to wager on BV7X. I mean, in the future, there will be bridges and zaps where you can basically bridge your tokens from one chain to predict on BV7X. And so long story short is like, you can build your agent off chain anywhere and it can exist on your local machine or on a decentralized server, whatever you want to do. But when it comes to, wagering USDC or buying BV7X, obviously that has to happen on chain. So, we're still like very much early stages. I think like, like the price action of BV7X right now is quite good comparatively to the rest of the market. I think we're still very much in a bear market. It's a bit chaotic in the market. I think Robinhood chain is getting a lot of attention right now, and that's fine. But I mean, we're building something for it to stand the test of time, and for the future of agentic. So that being said, if you guys ever have any questions, you can come into Telegram. We have very active moderators that are answering questions all the time. So happy to have you in there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Something I just want to tell everyone is to kindly follow them on X, join the Telegram. You can still have your own time to go through their website, because that is where you get updates about the project. We don't want you following scammy channels, all of that. So all of this has been pinned on GoldDiggers call. So do well to do that so you can get updates about what the project has coming and the milestones that is going to be crossed in the future. Thank you so much, Miss Trail, once again for joining GoldDiggers call. And we hope sometime in the future, when you guys have crossed so many milestones, and obviously the project gets bigger than it is now, we would have you here to give us updates about what you guys have been doing. So thank you once again. See you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for having me here.